Man, this is a hard category. Hi, Alex. How's it going? Hey, Becca. There's hype. There's hype. I can feel it. This is rough, guys. Look at this. So, I unthinkingly, because I just sometimes I'm just scrolling through different templates that there are on these websites, specifically tiermaker.com, that's the one I use a lot here, for these streams, and I was just scrolling through, looking at different, like, movie ones and TV ones, and I saw a movie trilogies one and thought, oh, cool, okay. So I put that on the poll for this week. Once I saw movie trilogies was winning the poll, I went back and looked at it, and I realized there were about 15 trilogies on that template, so I had to make my own. I just couldn't find one that I liked, so I went and made my own. And I'm not saying it's comprehensive. There is no way it's comprehensive. I already in my head kind of thought, oh wait, I think I know one I forgot. I tried really, really hard to really look at a lot. I got through a lot of ones here, and there are some that are dodgy, because what counts as a movie trilogy? There is a level of that here. For instance, let me think. For instance, Toy Story. So Toy Story is widely considered like 1 to 3 is like a trilogy. There's thunder outside today. Really? I haven't heard it. Yeah, so Toy Story, because Andy leaves at the end of the third one, it's widely considered like a trilogy, 1 to 3. So I put that in, even though that can be considered dodgy since there is a fourth one. It's just a fourth one. It's not a trilogy. Similar problems with a few of these ones. For instance, I put in, because the Star Wars films are in 3 trilogies. There's other films, but there's 3 clear trilogies there. So I put those in, even though Star Wars, it's all one series. Indiana Jones I put in as a trilogy, because the fourth one came so long after. I put in the recent Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy, because that is a very clear trilogy again, even though there was like 6 films in the series before that. I put in Pirates of the Caribbean, despite there being 5 of those. Because Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley left at the end of the third one, it feels like very much a trilogy. So there are cases like that where it's dodgy. There's cases like Despicable Me where it's more clear. That's a trilogy. And then Minions is a clear spin-off from it. So yeah, it's difficult. There are some loose trilogies I've included, like Riddick, Pitch Black, then The Chronicles of Riddick, then just Riddick, the third one's called. There are some like that. There's some foreign ones that I only kind of know, that I've added in as well. So it's quite difficult to do, but we've got 85 here. It's not entirely comprehensive. There are other ones that I could have included. I was thinking similarly to like Pirates of the Caribbean, I could have included the first 3 Transformers films and didn't. But it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And I put in, I think, the original X-Men trilogy, X-Men X2 and X-Men The Last Stand, and I put in the Wolverine trilogy, Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, and Logan. I didn't put in Days of Future Past, First Class, Apocalypse, because Dark Phoenix was such a lead-on from those that's not a trilogy, really. So it is tricky to say what is a film trilogy. There's 5 Bourne films, but that's a pretty clear trilogy. There's a bunch of Jurassic World films now, but that's its own trilogy. There is a Jurassic Park trilogy. There's more Living Dead films, but George Romero's was really the trilogy at the start of them. Same for Scream. It's kind of not really a trilogy anymore. Same for Alien. So it is hard to do, but I'm just going to jump into it. I'm just going to ignore that fact. We're just going to pretend that these are all just trilogies, okay? And we're only going to talk about the 3 films, obviously, in each case. So let's get something on each tier, huh? What's an S-tier trilogy? Not an S-tier film, because we've just put the poster for the first film in the trilogy on each of these cases. But what is a trilogy that's right at the top? I think pretty obviously Star Wars is an S tier. The original trilogy Star Wars. Easy one, right? It's widely considered. Even when you go to the fancy, like, Empire magazine lists, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings are still right at the top in terms of trilogies, okay? In fact, why don't we just put that there as well, okay? Make that very clear. Easy. Easy peasy, okay? Sorted. We got those 2 on S. I assume we're not going to get any arguments about that. I really hope we're not going to get any arguments about that. Who doesn't love the original Star Wars and Lord of the Rings films, huh? A tier trilogy. Okay. It's hard. It's hard. It's very difficult to. You have to aggregate the scores you'd give all three films in your mind. You know, tricky. So A tier trilogy. Let's go something a bit different. I'd actually put, just personally, well, hard one. It's a hard one. Let's go the other end. Let's make this one easy for ourselves. 50 Shades of Grey. Hopefully, again, nobody's really going to argue with me putting that right at the bottom. That is a garbage-ass trilogy. It was at least a planned trilogy. There are a lot of cases here where it wasn't a planned trilogy, and that really hurt the later installments. But, yeah, it's a bit, that's got to go at the bottom. No questions. E tier, what's really bad, but not as bad as 50 Shades of Grey? I mean, a lot of things, right? Oh, wait, I should put Sharktopus with it. Yeah, it just came into my head while I was doing it. Obviously, there are a lot of other really, really tragic movie trilogies that I've forgotten about, but Sharktopus is a very clean trilogy, just the 3 films, and it's... I'll say it, it's worse than 50 Shades of Grey. I know, it's amazing, right? But it definitely is. E tier trilogy. E feels like such a harsh score for so many of these that I'm looking at that I don't necessarily like, but they still deserve D. It's hard. I'm still trying to think what's A tier. Maybe we should just start going through some of these. The French Three Colors trilogy. Oh, hello, Dream. The French Three Colors trilogy, blue, white, and red. If you don't know it, it's mostly in French language. It's a weird one. It kind of wanted to take the 3 colors, blue, white, and red are the colors on the French flag, and it wanted to take those 3 colors and make a film about, like, the ideals which the French flag and which France is meant to represent, one in each of the 3. They are all good films. So, yeah, I find it to be a bit of a convoluted idea, and sometimes those ideals are a bit sunken in. But still, it's probably, as a trilogy, it was planned as such, it was well executed as such, they were released close to each other. It's probably an A. It's probably an A. Yeah. I'm hesitant to say that. I'm trying to think what the actual level is in my head for A's, but that's probably fine. Back to the Future. Back to the Future is a great film, don't get me wrong. One where, you know, he's trying to have sex with his mother. What you gonna do? It happens. Or he's trying not to have sex with his mother. His mother's trying to have sex with him, no, for sure. It's a very, very classic, still great to watch film. Watched it fairly recently. It's still great to watch. I watched back part 2 and 3 as well fairly recently. They're not as good. They're good. They're not as good. They're fine. They are all fine. We got to keep that in mind. There isn't a bad entry in it, you know? Good soundproofing on your room. Oh, I mean, it's hard to hear stuff from outside normally anyway. Don't really see it raining. Just thunder. So yeah, no, Back to the Future is a classic, so that ups the score for it. For 2 films that would probably be C, but Back to the Future on its own, the first one, is like an A, even an S. So I'll put it on B as a trilogy. That seems fair. B for Back to the Future. The Hobbit films. Interesting one, the Hobbit films, isn't it? I don't know. I always feel like they get shit on for not being Lord of the Rings. You know? They were never going to be Lord of the Rings. Not as a trilogy. If it had just been 1 film or 2, even 2, would have been fine. They could have been really good, but you were taking a book that's that thick and making 3 films. He added in a lot there. I love Back to the Future, but I agree. Yeah, I think so. I really love it, and I'm happy to sit and watch it as a trilogy, but it is not an A-tier trilogy. The Hobbit, I also don't think I'm going to give an A-tier trilogy. It could also be a B. Look, if you look at the second film on its own, I think that's the best one. I think it's a great film. Not anywhere near any of the Lord of the Rings films, but it is a great film. The third one's really convoluted. Some of the stuff in the battle is insane. It is still good Lord of the Ringsy battling stuff, a lot of, but not... Yeah. And the first one, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a damp squib. It's got some good stuff, the Misty Mountain song, Gollum, but... yeah. So overall, I'd be maybe Lightning too. Wow. I'd say probably a B as well. I think it'd be harsh to give it a C, because again, I don't dislike watching it back any of those films. I just get annoyed at things throughout all of them, and don't find any of them to be like supreme. I don't think any of them are S tier films individually. I think Desolation of Smog's near like an A tier on its own. I think the other two are kind of BC area. This is a weird one. The Evil Dead trilogy. The Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. A weird one, definitely, as a trilogy. It's strange, because it goes from being a really weird kooky horror in Evil Dead to being batshit crazy in Evil Dead 2. And then Army of Darkness lets all chains loose, and it's just fucking mental. And I think Evil Dead 2, for me, is the best film. I think Evil Dead, the first one, it ages, and it's only okay to watch back. It's kind of CD tier to watch back nowadays. It has aged. Evil Dead 2 is closer to being like an A. I'm not sure, honestly, after having seen it multiple times, what I think of Army of Darkness overall. It's batshit. It ages too, in terms of visuals and stuff, but you don't care as much because it's trying to be kooky. As a trilogy, it's not overly cohesive, really. Maybe a C. Maybe a C. Feels slightly harsh. I think my lights might be wavering a little bit. There might be, like, stuff going on outside. Thunder and lightning. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think, because I don't really like watching back the first Evil Dead. I do like watching the second one. I don't know what I really think of Army of Darkness. It is fun. So C's probably about right. I think I can hear that one. Wow. A lot of thunder and lightning. The Cornetto trilogy is obviously not a cohesive trilogy as such, but they knew exactly what they were doing and what they wanted to do the whole time. It features each one is Simon Pegg, Nick Frost working with Edgar Wright as the director, and they all wrote them together. And there's a lot of people star in all of them. Very, very frightening. And they all feature one of the different types of Cornetto ice cream, and they are all excellent. They are all excellent. Hot Fuzz is like an S tier film. Shaun of the Dead is like an A tier film. The World's End, I think, is the worst, but it's still like a B. So overall, Cornetto is S. Well, Hot Fuzz is an S. And Shaun of the Dead is like an A. But World's End is maybe more like a B, so it probably, as a trilogy, evens out to an A. I don't think as a trilogy I'd put them on the same tier as Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. But I do really enjoy all of those films. They're all really funny. There's great sci-fi concepts and action and all sorts in them. And those two together, Pegg and Frost, are so good. So good. So I think a strong A for that trilogy. Captain America. Look. I'm a big, like, Captain America. I was talking about this on stream the other day, why he's like my favorite superhero, and I think Chris Evans is perfect for him. Looking forward to the Amazon series. I'm not. I'm interested to see what they do with it. I think they're hopefully treating it with a lot of reverence. I think you'd have to. But I don't know. I don't know what I feel about it, really. I'm rereading the Silmarillion. Oh, big ol' read. Big ol' read. Captain America, look, I have grown a lot fonder of the first Avenger the more I watch it back. I think Winter Soldier is in my top 4 MCU films, probably. And Civil War is obviously insane. It's the Avengers 2 we deserved, if you will. So, Captain America as a trilogy, I really, really love them all. I'm worried because the guy who was meant to make sure the show was lore accurate quit. Oh, Jesus, that does sound bad. It's probably kind to give it an S tier, I think the films come together and are all to so much higher a level overall than Iron Man or Thor as trilogies. So in terms of like Marvel, it is the best trilogy there is. Fuck it, I'll give it the S. I will. I'm not saying it's on the level of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, but I do think it's a tier almost in between S and A there. I do think all three of those are so good, and they come together so well cohesively. It's so great. I think the only thing about them is that you couldn't really just watch them on their own and get Captain America's whole story. You need at least Endgame to boot, because that's where his story really finishes. But well, no, that's true. You know what? That is true. It doesn't stand on its own perfectly. I guess that does keep it down to A. Maybe that seems about right. Matrix. Oh boy. Classic case of an amazing, iconic first film, and then the other two being what they are. Where does it actually go? Like, I don't enjoy either of the Matrix sequels. I don't enjoy them. If I were to rank them individually, they both similarly D. Matrix is an S. Where does that put it? It's not an A as a trilogy. It's definitely not. It's probably not even a B. Agent Smith is the hero. Well, Matrix is difficult because the first is amazing, but the next two were just weird. Yeah, he is the one. Oh, is he? Matrix wasn't that good. Well, the first one is. Come on. It really is. It really is. I think I'm gonna put it on C though. It's a really bad trilogy. I think it's such a good first film. It's a really bad trilogy. No, you don't even like the first Matrix? Come on, that's crazy. That's crazy time. C, yeah, I think C's fair. The other two are, you're talking like D. The first one is like AS, but this is the Millennium Trilogy they call it. It's the girl with. The girl with the dragon tattoo, the girl who played with fire, the girl who kicked a hornet's nest. I think that's the right order. Might be the other way around, those sequels, but they're all very good. I'm not talking about the Daniel Craig one. That really weirdly, they brought this out in like 2009, and then they brought the American remake out in like 2011. But these are Swedish films, and they're all very well made. They're all very well made, but I'd classify it similar level to the Three Colors trilogy. So I think I'll put this on A as well. Not an S, but it is very good. If you haven't seen those, definitely try and check them out. There are a few here. There are a few foreign language trilogies here, because I mean there are so many. There are so many foreign language trilogies. Some of them sounded awful when I was looking them up, but I wanted to put a few of the major, most beloved ones in, especially if I actually know something about them. The Iron Man trilogy, see, now here's the problem. We cannot give this trilogy an A. We definitely can't. I mean, as films, like as much as Iron Man is like the most beloved Marvel character in the cinematic universe, the intro is iconic. Oh, Naked Gun. The intro is iconic, that's true. I don't think it's an S-tier trilogy. Iron Man is a trilogy. Like, the first one is great. I'd probably, even though I love all the Captain America films, put the first Iron Man above the first Captain America. That seems about right. Second Iron Man is one of the worst Marvel movies. Third Iron Man is still not overly great. I had huge hopes for the third Iron Man when I saw the trailer. I was freaking out, I remember. So it was a disappointment to me as well. But it's more like The Hobbit and Back to the Future. I think Iron Man trilogy is a B tier, because I didn't actively dislike any of the films. I didn't think 2 was great. I've come around to 3 more, and 1 is great. So I think that's about right. Iron Man is B, yep. Iron Man 1 is great, 2 is awful. Yeah. This is all very. 3 was average. Yeah. Pretty much. Different for the Wolverine trilogy. You're talking Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, and Logan. So obviously Origins Wolverine is arguably the worst X-Men film Fox ever made. It's real bad. What they did to Deadpool in that was borderline character rape. It was truly awful. The Wolverine, the 2013 one where he goes to Japan, is a pretty solid movie. I think it really got forgotten about in the mix of them doing like Days of Future Past and First Class and all around the same time. But the Wolverine was actually an enjoyable movie. It's not fantastic, but it's solid. I enjoy it. And Logan is obviously phenomenal. So this trilogy is a weird case of it getting way better as it goes along. I wouldn't have considered Wolverine as a series. No, but it is. Like, those three films are all very much Wolverine films. Those three. So it is a trilogy. It's a bit of a loose one, considering that, no, they don't really stand up on their own. And obviously, there's really no kind of cohesiveness between these three as films, like, timeline-wise. You know, that... Ooh, wouldn't have a clue what's going on. So it kind of gets deducted marks like Captain America for not being a standalone trilogy as such. Still, Logan is great. Wolverine is good. It's... I could maybe put this on C. I could maybe put it on B, though. Now it's raining. Oh, boy. Only good one was Logan. I wouldn't put it on a D. I think I'll put it on a C. I think the Wolverine was pretty solid. It was like a C tier film. Logan is like A-S. Wolverine is like E. So that about evens out to a C. It's not a D. It's not a D. I think that's harsh. Toy Story, if you take out number 4, they do normally consider that a trilogy, the first 3 of those. They're good. They're good. I'd still be like number 2 is the best out of those 3 for me. And then kind of 1 and then 3 slightly below it. You need something on D? I do need something on D, that's true, but we'll find something eventually. Actually, there you go. That's kind. Oh, no, wait, no, you know what? No, that is kind. I'll put it there. I know what I'm putting on D. Hell yeah. Okay, we'll have our little Kung Fu Panda tiff again, won't we? We always have this. If you take out 4, it's an A. What, Toy Story? I think it's still an A if you put in number 4, but hey, what? Come on, guys. Madagascar's god-awful. Kung Fu Panda's better, but still not great. Still not great. Toy Story, yeah, I'll put it on an A. I'm comfortable with that. Yeah, I don't like Kung Fu Panda. The first one, totally fine. I don't really have any problems with it. The second and third are just ridiculous. Madagascar is awful, thank you. You remember what happened last time? I do, but nobody's here to stop me. Nobody's here to stop me with money, and nobody disagrees even, come on. We all know that as a trilogy, Evil Dead and Matrix and even Wolverine are better than Kung Fu Panda. Jeez. Kung Fu Panda sucks, yes. The original X-Men films, ooh... they're not going high. They're not going high, because Last Stand is about on the same level as Origins Wolverine. But they don't have a Logan film. I'd say X-Men 1 and 2 are maybe both better than the Wolverine. But... as a trilogy ending with The Last Stand... I think it's got to go D. I think it's got to go D. That seems harsh. I have nothing against the first 2 films. They feel retro. They feel fine. I think it's a D. Is this original or the newer version? No, it's original. Matrix is boring. God, Adam, what? I don't know. I don't know if the original X-Men are a C. I think both of the first 2 films are bordering between B and C for me. But then Last Stand is like an E. So I think it drags it down to maybe a D. I don't know. There's nothing there that inspires me enough, you know. This has got The Matrix, this has got Evil Dead 2, this has got Logan. It's not really got one that stands out, and it's got one that definitely stands out at the bottom. X-Men C, maybe? Alright. If you think so, I'll put it there. Alright. I agree with Adam about Matrix, to be honest. I don't know what this, like, modern hate is for The Matrix. I don't get it. I still think it's fantastic to watch back, but... fair enough. I don't really agree with people who put it in, like, the top 10 films of all time or anything like that, but I do think it's a great one. The Oceans trilogy. I only found out quite recently that the original the like Rat Pack, like Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Ocean's 11 from 1960. It was also a musical. I really want to watch it now that I found that out. But this is Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. Clooney, Pitt, all these people. Damon? Yeah, Damon. The first one's definitely very good. I mean, there's a decline in quality, but not like an unacceptable one. So you're talking near an A for the first one. Second one's more border between B and C. Third one's kind of between C and D, probably. I don't know, like Scream B. Where? Oh, yeah, we'll get to it. Matrix 1 is doing all the legwork for the trilogy. Oh, for sure. No, that's why it's a C, because both of the other ones are bad. But again, it's a great first film, then it gets repetitive. Oh, The Oceans. It does, but it's better than like The Matrix. Overall, I don't know. I think it's kind to give it overall a B. It's harsh to give it overall a C. But that's probably where it'll end up. That feels mean. It does, but I don't know. Do I enjoy the Oceans films as much as even the Hobbit ones? Not on average. I don't think so, no. This is the original Mad Max trilogy, which you're going to hate, Ross, because it does indeed star Mel Gibson as Mad Max. I have seen all three. It's a while ago, but the first one's, it's not really great. It's okay, but it's not even post-apocalyptic. The first Mad Max film ever, 1979, was not post-apocalyptic. It was just a cop in Australia, and he was going after his family. His family had been kidnapped. I think so. It's been a long time. It wasn't great. The second one, Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, yeah, great film. Very great film. And then Beyond Thunderdome, I think is the third one. It's... Oh, Ross is screaming F for Mel Gibson. Yeah. Third one was fine. I think it was probably, honestly, I preferred it to the first one. First one, not great. First one, D. Yeah. Second one, maybe an A. Third one, probably a C. So, I don't know. Again, it's kind of between B and C. I'll probably go on the lower end of it again. I'll probably go C again. Really, nothing inspiring about the first or third. And it doesn't feel cohesive overly as a trilogy. It does not. So, yeah. Oh, hell no. Get that historical butcher out of here. Oh, dear. I'm sorry, Ross. It's just not an F trilogy. It's not. I don't actually have Lethal Weapon here. That was pretty clearly 4 films, so I could have put it in again. It's another one I could have, but you're really getting into hundreds of films if you're just taking any that has 3 films and then keeps going. The Naked Gun is a trilogy. It is very funny. Well, the first one is. Yeah. They kind of kept going, and again, there is definitely a steady decline in the quality as you go through 2 and 3. S? No. The style? I know it has style, but it also is trash comedy. They are all trash comedy. Real trash comedy. It's harsh to put it on D, but like, I mean, I would say maybe the first one is like a C tier film, and then the other 2 are like D-ish. Like, they're all, none of them are good. There is a lot that is iconic in its own way about the first one, but it's still not a good film, really. A low C, to be honest. Yeah, it's a steady decline, but that's what they were going for. Well, okay, but this is what I always say about films like The Velocipaster. I love The Velocipaster, but I love it because it's such a good bad film. Like, they intended to make a bad film, but they did it successfully, so it is a bad film. I acknowledge that. But I love it, you know? Same thing there. I've never seen them. The first one, at least, is definitely worth a watch. It's very funny, but it is silly. It's silliness. Oh boy. You know, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films, they age. Like the original X-Men trilogy, they age. Superhero genre has come so far, so quickly, in everything, in all terms. They age, and Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, that ages. I don't know how I feel about that watching it back nowadays. Look, right, Spider-Man 2, still a great film. You can't really deny it. There's a lot of MJ, you know, but it is a great film. It's bordering on like an A tier. The second one, you could maybe still call a B. The third one is like a clear, like, D heading into an E. So as a trilogy, again, it's like the X-Men one. It is easy to throw away into the C, potentially. My least favorite Spider-Man? Yeah, I wouldn't say that, because I really like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Whoa. That made me really turn off of Andrew Garfield, but, like, I definitely prefer Tom Holland to either of them, personally. And I grew up watching Tobey Maguire Spider-Man like a lot of people that still revere him, but I never felt that, really. Oh, hey, William, how's it going? Tobey Maguire annoys me. I get it. First he falls, then he gets crushed, then marched over by a band. Yeah. You know, I'm going to stick it in C, and I think that's harsh. But as a trilogy, yeah. I don't really feel it. I don't really feel it watching back today. It's definitely aged. Men in Black is also not a great trilogy. Yeah. No, there's that third one. Ooh. I enjoyed the second one a lot. First one is still good watch back. I'd rate the first and second pretty close to each other, honestly. D, to be honest. What, for Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? I think that's harsh. I do still enjoy the second one a lot, and the first one is still fine. Third one is garbage, gosh. The Sonic movies are bound to be the next film trilogy? Oh, the next film trilogy. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw a few that are going to be completed quite soon that are missing out on this list. Obviously, Netflix is releasing the third Kissing Booth film like this week, but it's not out yet. And there are a few that are coming out soon to make trilogies, but nope. Men in Black 2 is better than 1. Yeah, it is. I'd actually put them very close together. The Matrix on A? Oh, not as a trilogy, no. Matrix as a film, sure. Not as a trilogy, no. Yeah, I'd put Men in Black and Men in Black 2 kind of... I think they're both B tier. I think they're both about B tier. And the third one is closest to like an E. It's really not great. So again, like I hate putting this many on C, but I feel like again it just evens out to being around there. What do you guys think? I'd consider it around par for a trilogy, because the first two are good, but the third one is trash, garbage. And I liked Josh Brolin in that role. I thought he did really well playing the young Tommy Lee Jones and all. But trash, garbage. I've only seen the first Hangover. C will always have lots, though. It's the most average score. True. No, you know what? You're right. When you're right, you're right. The Hangover. First Hangover. Indubitably great film. Great film. Very enjoyable. Very funny. Second Hangover. It already felt old. It was still enjoyable enough to watch once. Third one, just prime levels of silliness, really, right? But it's still kind of, I'd say, harmless. I'd say it's harmless. So I'd say the third Hangover is still maybe like a D. Second one is like a C. First is like an A. I don't want to put it on C. God damn it. Men in Black 1 and 2 are good. That's true, but the third one is real garbage. And I wouldn't say Men in Black 1 or 2 is great. I don't think either of them is an A-tier film on its own, personally. Hangover B, to be honest. 1 and 2 were both good by 2010 standards. Only movies I like, Zach Galifianakis. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think it is okay to put it on a B tier, because I think the first is heading towards like an A. I think the second is still a fairly high C. And then the third is only like a D. It's not lower than that. They're fine. They are all harmless. So it is. It's like Back to the Future. The second and third ones aren't great. It is repetitive, but they're harmless. And the first one is great. You know? Feels around that level. There's a live action film based on the children's book series Curious George in the works. Oh, didn't they already do that? Or I feel like there's been a bunch of Curious George films. Or yeah, but I have no idea. I thought they did live action ones now. Weird. Taken 1 is A, Taken 2 is F, Taken 3 is D. I'd say D overall. Taken Trilogy is not great overall. No. But I don't think either 2 or 3 is an F tier film on its own. I think the first one is like, you're heading in action terms, God, it is legendary, and deservedly so. It's so good. You're heading towards like an S, the first film. Taken 1A, Taken 2C, 3E. It will be live action? Hold on, Back to the Future is S? Back to the Future is not S as a trilogy, come on. Taken, I don't know. Oh, thank you for the donation, Ross. What's that for? What is that for Back to the Future S? Oh, come on, as a trilogy? Like, the second and third films are very ordinary if you watch them back today. Yeah, Taken, it is hard. It is hard. I'd, again, almost say B, but you do get more to the point where it's, like, offensively annoying by the third one than you do with, like, Hangover or Back to the Future. S? What? Okay, you know what? You donated. I'll put Back to the Future up to A as a trilogy. Don't let him bully you. Okay, thank you for the donation back up. We'll put it back to B. All right, then. Back in place you go. All right, never mind. I'd watch them back to back. Yeah, no, you can do, but I think it's very much a case of Back to the Future is great. Really great. Maybe an S tier film. And then 2 is like a... I think 2 and 3 are both just like C. You know, that's why I averaged it out to about a B. I don't really see them all as being great. And look at A. Like, I think all 3 of those films are great. I think all 3 of those films are great. I think all 3 of those films are great. I think all 3 of those films are great. I think all 3 of those films are great. Despite having problems with the first and third Toy Story in different ways, I think they're still very good films. If I feel averagely about even any of the films, really, then they're probably not making the A tier, you know what I mean? And I feel pretty averagely about 2 of those. Taken, it's not making the A tier as a trilogy. It's maybe another C. It feels harsh, because I do think the first film is basically an S tier on its own. But yeah, I think Becca was maybe close to being right. What did you say? 2 is a C, 3 is an E. I'd maybe even say 2 is like a D and 3 is an E. So it really can't make a B tier as a trilogy, I don't think. I'd settle for A. I don't know. Because that's very clear there, you know? If I really like all 3, great. If I don't really like all 3, but it's got good ones, more like there. And if there's like garbage amongst them or something, it's probably like a C. So yeah, that seems pretty simple. Ooh. Godfather. The original animated film was great and had an awesome cast. Will Ferrell, Drew Barrymore, David Cross, and Dick Van Dyke. That's modern enough then that that's the one I'm thinking of. It was animated, I guess. I couldn't remember. The Godfather... And here's one of those things, right? Because there are these films that people talk about in, like, the conversation of, like, greatest of all time. And Godfather and Godfather 2 are both in that conversation. And I think everybody finds some of those films that they think are overrated, and some of those films they think are perfectly rated, are exactly as good as everyone says they are. I think The Godfather is exactly as good as everyone says it is. It is an incredible film. It's one of the best of all time, sure. I don't rate Godfather 2 as highly as most people do. I do not. I think it's a very clear 1, 2, 3 in that trilogy for me. I do still like it a lot. I think Godfather 2 is still close to like an S tier film. Godfather 1 is definitely an S tier film. 3 is not. And 3 gets shit on because it's, you know, it's being compared to Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. It's still a completely fine film. But it's more, I don't know, it probably is a B film. I think it's an A. I think it's an A trilogy. I think it's hard to give an S to a trilogy that you have such a dip in quality. I mean, to be fair, there is a fair dip to Return of the Jedi in quality. But those are all of such high caliber. Like, I would, you know, it averages out definitely Star Wars to higher than Godfather for me. Yeah, I think so. Taken D? No, I think that's harsh. I don't think I can give a D to a franchise where I have a film in it that I love that much, you know? I think if there's a film I really love, the minimum it can go is C. Remember Herobrine? Remember you Dirt Hut? Remember your first diamond? Remember the summer day that you first played? You okay there, Spinal? How's it going? Austin Powers is another case of, like, The Naked Gun. Like, these are all fun films. You gotta love these films. Probably more than The Naked Gun, but they are trash. But even by the third one, it's not that bad. It's trash, but it's not that bad. It's not offensively annoying. So it probably averages out to being Austin Powers E. Ooh, you received more death threats. Well, Ross, you do. You are a controversial figure online. This kind of thing, it happens, you know. Trash. Ooh, nasty. We're getting nasty. I don't know. I definitely don't think I can put it below The Naked Gun. Can I put it as high as a C? I mean, there isn't one real standout film that I think is genius. I never liked Mike Myers outside of Shrek. Damn, you guys seem to have turned against Austin Powers here. We'll go D. We'll go D then. If that's how you guys feel that strongly against it. Wow. A lot of anti-Matrix and anti-Austin Powers sentiment in chat today. Weird. Narnia's not great. Even the first film to watch back today is not great. No. And then after that, oh my god. And I mean, what happened there? They ruined a wonderful book series D. Yeah, okay, no, okay, I'll go for that. I feel like they really did. They really fucked with Narnia. And I mean, what happened there? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, as I recall it, and it's been a while since I read them, it's like the second book. Prince Caspian, I don't think that's the third one. I think that's like fourth, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader is fifth. I remember it was like the mage's nephew, something like that. The sorcerer's nephew is the first one, and they just skipped it entirely. Never went for it. I can't remember what the third one was, if I'm right about that order, but I feel like it was pretty good as well. And then 6 and 7 were a bit convoluted by the end, so I'm not surprised they left those out, frankly. Magician's Nephew, thank you. Yeah, that's the first one. They left that out. They skipped straight to 2, and then I think like 4 and 5. That's a mess of a trilogy to make. That's horrible. They really, I don't know what they were doing with that. There is news that they're wanting to do like a TV show with it, which would be exciting. Third was Horse and His Boy. Oh, I do vaguely remember that. Yeah, I think that one was fine. When Anakin slaughtered younglings S. Oh, prequels? Prequels aren't getting S, man. Come on. What's going on, Spinal? What's going on there? Blade is another classic case of first one's solid enough. Not great, though. Second and third, decrease. Third one, very interesting. Ryan Reynolds in there. That's everyone forgets that when in like trivia questions people ask, oh, how many superhero roles has Ryan Reynolds had? They always forget about his role in Blade Trinity. Rightfully so. It's trash. But as a trilogy, it's probably another D, frankly. As much as the first Blade is an enjoyable film to watch back, it's on its own probably between B and C. And then neither of the other two are higher than like a D, so yeah. It's a shame. Prequels F? Blade was my favourite movie when I was younger. B, I think. I think you could make a case for Blade as a film being on B. The second and third ones are really not. They're really not. I approve of Order 66. Prequels F or E. Oh my. Okay. Rush Hour, again. Rush Hour is an iconic, delightful film. How good is it actually? Not higher than like a B. And then the sequels aren't higher than that. It's harsh to put it on D as well. It might be. It's not yeah. I mean, again, like they're all harmless, like some of these other ones, but there's nothing inspiring really. Rush Hour is trash as a series. Okay, yeah, we'll put it on D. I think it's harsh to put it lower than that, but I think it's okay on D. Ooh, the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the recent ones. No, that's some good films. There's not a bad film in there. No. I don't know where that goes, actually. I'm not sure there's a real standout for me. I think I would put them all out of 100 in like the 70s, which is... Blade C. Thank you for the donation, Andrew. Yeah, you know what? Okay. Blade C. We'll put Blade on C. I do think Trinity is a bit trashy, but you think B, Becca? I think I'm trying to decide where like the cutoffs would be in terms of like scoring them out of 100, because I think they're all in the 70s for me. I don't think there's one that's a real standout that's in the 80s. I probably do think they get worse as they go along. I think Rise is my favorite of the three, but it's pretty close. I think it's a high B, because those are all very solid. Yeah. If Minecraft taught me anything, it's to live by my own rules. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. Well, there you go. I'm glad it inspired you. Pirates. Pirates has to be B, right? As a trilogy. First three. I mean, Curse of the Black Pearl is one of the best, like, adventure films out there. One of the best films you would actually put just in the adventure genre, really. It's close to an S. It's supreme. The second one is better than some people give it credit for. I think it's like a B. And then the third one, I still enjoy quite a lot of things about the third one. It's also that it's really long and there's also a lot of trash in there. So, but I still wouldn't put it below like a D max. So I think B is a trilogy. I think that's fine. Bourne is another one that I feel some people are divided about nowadays. Some people look back on and say they weren't that great. I think they were that great. I think Bourne was that great. I really enjoy the Bourne trilogy. And it's hard, like, because it's one that, like Lord of the Rings, you'd put the second one probably the lowest of the three, but it's got amazing fight scenes. Lord of the Rings has got Helm's Deep. Bourne Identities, or Bourne Supremacy is the second one, has got Karl Urban as the villain, right, fighting with him. Fantastic. Bourne is boring? I don't think so. I love Bourne. I really love Bourne. I would put all three of the Bourne films up with the higher echelons of James Bond films. Really, as a trilogy, it is fantastic. I'll only put it on A, though. I'm not gonna go crazy there. I want more Bourne movies with Matt Damon. I don't know. I think the trilogy was so good on its own, and then they did, obviously, the Jeremy Renner one, which was bad. And then they came back and did Jason Bourne, the fifth one, which is fine, bringing Matt Damon back, but I don't think it worked as well as the trilogy. So I don't know how I feel about more. Indiana Jones, yeah. Again, there's so many here that have got to go on A. You can't put, even just as a trilogy, if you're ignoring Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you still can't really put Indiana Jones on S because there's a bum entry. Temple of Doom, it's not that great, guys. It's just not. Indiana Jones B, only because Temple of Doom is a life ruiner, okay? I don't think Temple of Doom's that bad. And I mean, the other two are that good. They're that good to lift it up to an A overall, I think, for sure. Because, I mean, both of the other films I would put closer to like an S tier. If Temple of Doom was, you know, Nazi-focused, if he'd been chasing Nazis during World War II like he was with the other two, probably an S tier trilogy. But Short Round. Short Round is kind of annoying, but fine, harmless. Willie Scott is what Beck is probably referring to as a life ruiner. Also, like, it's just the plot and stuff. It's not that great. Indiana Jones is at his best when he's fighting Nazis. That's what went wrong with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Cold War? Get out of here. We don't want Russian villains in an Indiana Jones movie. Jesus. I don't know how they're going to fix it for the fifth one, because there's not going to be Nazis. If they somehow get Nazis. Brilliant. But he's old now, so he can't just pretend it's World War II again. Scream? Oh, I love Scream. I really love Scream. And I'd be like Ross is with Back to the Future. I could sit and watch all three back to back and really enjoy myself. But you gotta admit that the only S tier film there is Scream. The second one, more like a B, I think, still maybe as high as, or yeah, it kind of annoys a lot of people that we'd never met. One of the people that were unmasked as the villain. That's kind of bullshit. Scream B. Yeah, because, again, it's the case of there only being one really great film. If there's two really great films, I could maybe push it up to there. There isn't. So it is probably B as a trilogy. I think you're right, Andrew. Yeah, that's a shame, because I do love them, those films, but yeah. Three is definitely C at best, really, isn't it? It is crazy by that stage. Thor. Ugh. Can Thor make B? Thor, like, Ragnarok is so good. It really, it's very high on my MCU ranking, I think. Definitely in my top 10. The other two, most significantly, are not. And despite Thor getting really good as a character in the last couple of Avengers movies and everything going so correctly, you think Thor's a B? Yeah, I think Ragnarok is like on the level of like the first Scream or like Curse of the Black Pearl. The other two are both like C tier films, but if even. Yeah, okay. I'll give it the B. Because, I mean, to be fair, Iron Man 1 and 3 versus Thor 1 and 2, pretty even. I think Thor 2 is maybe slightly worse than Iron Man 2. Thor 1 is probably better than Iron Man 3. Yeah. No, I think that's about right. Alien, if we just ignore Resurrection, that becomes a pretty solid trilogy. Yeah. I mean, actually, yeah. No, I was thinking like, no, it's pretty solid, and then I realized, wait, no, if you take out Resurrection, then like people shit on Alien 3. Why do people shit on Alien 3? It's the same like idea as Alien 1. It's not as well executed, it's just rehashed. So it isn't a good film, but it is like still maybe C heading into D tier film, and the other two are S tier films. So this has got to be an A, right? I think it's got to be an A. It's like Indiana Jones. There is one kind of bomb entry, but I don't think it can drag the other two down further than the A. It's repetitive. It's definitely repetitive. But if we were really penalizing things properly for that, I don't think Back to the Future would be on B. You know what I mean? No, I definitely think that's okay. Because Alien 3 is perfectly watchable. And the other two are incredible films. The two dead characters at the start. Yeah, I know. Alien 3 is not great. I'm not trying to say it is. I'm just saying, I don't think it could drag two S tier films down to make this trilogy a B. See what I mean? I don't think I can drag them down that far. I kind of did this, and it's kind of weird. This is one of the weirder moments in what counts as a trilogy here. I think everyone agrees that the first three Mission Impossible films, where it was just Tom Cruise before he had a proper team, that's a trilogy of films. Because then it took a while after 3 before they did Ghost Protocol, so it felt like that's a natural stopping point, that's a trilogy. I've also included the other 3 films as a trilogy, which is dodgier, but there are 6. I know there's going to be more, but there are 6, and it feels kind of like it works as a trilogy. It's one of the dodgier ones, but I think if you're doing the first 3 as one, and then there's 3 more, might as well. Mission Impossible 1 to 3 is a C, Mission Impossible 4 to 6 is an A. That's very close to what I was about to say, I think. Actually, that might be what I was about to say. I think Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I think it's the best, personally, out of all of them. Just personally. I still love that one so much to watch back. And I think people got overhyped for 6, but it was still very good. I just think it was getting repetitive by that point because it was similar to 5 in a lot of ways, I found. But it was still very good. I wouldn't argue against people saying that. I think Ghost Protocol is strong A. I think Rogue Nation is still an A. I think Fallout is maybe slipping into a B, but overall I do think that trilogy is an A. The first 3, is it a C? I mean, there's no really inspiring film in there, but yeah, I mean, they definitely aren't on this level, right, as a trilogy, so, like, 2 is not good. 2's not really good, but it's not that bad. It's like a D, and the other 2, the first one is actually a really enjoyable film still to watch back. Third one is pretty good as well. It gets shit on a bit. Number 3 is so bad? No, I don't think so. Number 2 is so bad. Number 3... fine. I thought it was fine. It's alright. It's maybe C heading into D. First one's definitely up there. Second one's solidly in like a D. Yeah, I think it evens out to that. That's about right. I can hardly see what that is. Oh, right. This is one of the other confusing ones if you don't really know them, and a lot of people won't. This is the Korean Revenge trilogy. You know, Old Boy? You might have heard of the English remake of Old Boy. It starred Josh Brolin and... Hey, Mike, how's it going, buddy? What's up? Never got into Mission Impossible until 4. Yeah, no, I definitely don't think they're, like, great, the first 3, but they're all solid enough to make it about there. This South Korean trilogy. So, yeah, if you don't know Old Boy, it's one of the best Korean films of all time. Astounding, like, revenge thriller-y kind of film. And these are all kind of like that. I'm struggling to remember the name of the third one, but... yeah, they are all very good. They are all very good. And it's kind of... yeah, because the other 2 aren't as good as Old Boy, which is like an S tier film. The other 2 are like A's, so it probably evens out to about that. Yeah, I'm putting all the like big foreign ones up here. The French one, the Swedish one, and the Korean one are all there. But, oh my gosh! Oh, Mike has returned! Thank you so much, Mike. $50 donation. Oh my goodness. You want anything moved? We're movie trilogies here. If you want anything moved around for $50, Jesus Christ, let me know. Thank you so much. That's incredible. And welcome back. How's it going? Panda? No, Adam, you can't have Panda moved. No, Panda's bad. Die Hard. This is another one that it was dodgy for me to include as a trilogy. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Mike. That's incredible. Yeah, but if you include Die Hard as a trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, pretty good, pretty good. I don't really think 4 slipped that much, but 5 was obviously a diabolical moment in the history of action films. It was awful. I mean, the first Die Hard is an S-tier film, right? We're not arguing about that. I'd almost put the second Die Hard film, it's like strong A. Or no, sorry, not the second one, the third one. The third one. How's everyone been? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm chilling right now. We've been having fun the last week or so since I came back. Yeah, so I'd say Die Hard 1, clean S tier. Die Hard 3 is a strong A. Die Hard 2 gets repetitive. It's not as good. I'd say it's almost weaker than 4. I think it's the weaker out of the first 4. But it's still only like maybe a C tier film. Die Hard as a trilogy, those first 3 is probably an A. Right? Yeah, I think it's closer to an A than it is to a B. I think that's fair. Where else? Silence of the Lambs is another one. It's kind of dodgy to include as a trilogy, because obviously they did Manhunter before they did Silence of the Lambs. So where do you start the trilogy? The trilogy starts with Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. And then that is a fairly clean trilogy. Those 3 from then on. And Silence of the Lambs is obviously, I'd put that S-tier film on its own. And the other 2 are strong. Those 2 in that trilogy, yeah. No, they're both. Well, definitely Red Dragon is very good. I don't know. It could slip into a B. It's probably another A, though, right? Hear me out, Gaston is the only villain that's nice to his henchman. He's not that nice to him. And I don't think he's the only one. All good. What are you playing this week on stream? Well, it looks like, and if you haven't voted yet, members, then go check out the poll, please, and try to save me, but I think it's too late. I think I'm playing this on Friday. Yeah. It's the B-movie game. And I have to finish the whole thing. That's what's winning the poll vote at the moment. I was obviously doing, The Forest on Monday. And I've got more Age of Mythology and more Pokemon scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. So very exciting. Can you recast Jurassic Park or Back to the Future? Sure, love to. Everyone will be annoyed, though, if I don't cast Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland in Back to the Future, though, right? I've made a base on a flower island full of bees. Cool. Be strong. Back to the Future, yes. Oh, okay. A lot of hype for a Back to the Future fan cast. I like it. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs, I don't know. Is it as strong as Die Hard as a trilogy? It's close. Maybe slips just into the B. We've got a lot of A's. I just voted for the B-movie game. Shit. Yeah, no, that seals my fate. That's awful. That is awful. Oh, God. Thank you, everyone. Terminator. You know, people shit on Terminator 3. People shouldn't shit on Terminator 3. They should focus on shitting on Terminator 4 and 5. If we're just talking about it as a trilogy, this is similar to Alien. Because Terminator 1 and 2 are both, like, instant, supreme classics. And then the third one's just a little bit of a letdown. Like Alien. Alien 3 let it down. But it still means, I think we got to put it on the level, right? We got to put it on the level of Alien. I think that's fair. And here we go. I think this completes our quartet of... Oh, no, we've got a fifth. There are kind of, I think, 5 foreign language ones I put in here. 5 big foreign language well-known ones. Or, if not well-known, then well-revered. So, El Mariachi is the first in the trilogy. I think Desperado is the second one, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico is the third. And they star Antonio Banderas, right? And they're kind of Mexican revenge thrillers. As a trilogy, overall, I do think they're good, but I think they're slightly overhyped, these ones. I don't know, personally. I Spy Human Centipede, it's there. Oh, yeah. I feel like we've done a lot of the good ones already. I feel like there's a lot of trash coming up. Oh, there really is, isn't there? There's some good ones still, but there's a lot of trash coming up. Yeah, El Mariachi is fine, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico is well revered for sure. I think probably a B. as a trilogy again. Yeah, I think that's about fair. I'm having some trouble seeing the trilogies. Is Matrix on here? Yeah, Matrix we put in C, because we don't like either of the sequels. Oh wait, you know what? I keep forgetting. I can zoom this in, if you guys are struggling to see. Like that. That's okay, right? That's better. Yeah, so we've got Star Wars Originals, and Lord of the Rings are the only ones on S. We got the French Three Colors trilogy, the Swedish Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy, and the Korean Revenge trilogy that includes Oldboy are all there on A, as well as the Cornetto trilogy, Captain America, Toy Story, Godfather, the original Bourne 3, the first Indiana Jones 3, the first Alien 3, the second trilogy of Mission Impossible ones, the first Die Hard 3, and the first Terminator 3. At the bottom, we've only got 50 Shades of Grey and the Sharktopus trilogy. If you don't know what the Sharktopus trilogy is, good for you. Yeah. Matrix is on C, yeah. Jurassic Park. Ooh. What do we think about the Jurassic Park sequels, huh? How do you feel about them, guys? I mean, they're not, like, great, are they? They're not, like, great. A for Jurassic Park? Look, Jurassic Park is obviously an S-tier film. Alone. Hey, Irish girl, how's it going? Jurassic Park 2 and 3 are not S films. They're not A films. Don't think either of them is really a B film either, honestly. I would definitely... I don't think I'd put either of the others late again. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. There's plenty left here. You can have a good look at what's been. Hopefully. I did zoom in, but I'm still not sure on your screens how well you can see them. Yeah, I don't think Jurassic Park is an A tier trilogy. B or C. Hold on, Matrix C. As a trilogy. First one, great. Second and third, bad. bad garbage films, yeah. Jurassic Park as a trilogy is probably a B, right? I feel like there's only so far that the other two could drag an S tier film down. You know? And I don't think either of them are that bad. I don't think Jurassic Park 2 or 3 are unwatchable. You know? I think they're fine. Night of the Living Dead trilogy. That's, in case you're wondering, because there are a few other Living Dead films, but the real trilogy is Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Now, obviously, Dawn of the Dead is still one of the greatest zombie films made. It's so iconic in so many ways. Night of the Living Dead is obviously the big OG. It's not that rewatchable nowadays. It's not that rewatchable. Dawn of the Dead is. Day of the Dead's still pretty good. As a trilogy, it's hard watching them back today to justify much above a C, probably. OMG, Christmas Prince S. Christmas Prince not S. We got a lot of garbage coming up, unfortunately, here. I did really try to be comprehensive in adding a lot of, you know, more modern ones, animated ones, and Netflix ones even. Netflix trilogies that they've got. But not a lot of them going on S. Night of the Living Dead, I do think, unfortunately, it probably does drop to about a C. If Evil Dead as a trilogy is on a C, Night of the Living Dead probably is as well, I think. I think that's about right. Harsh Browns. Okay, right. Let me hear it. I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Star Wars prequels. Star Wars prequels. In fact, let's do them at the same time. Star Wars prequels versus Star Wars sequels. What's the opinion here? Even I couldn't argue S, but the others are bad enough to pull the first Matrix down to a C. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think, like, if you look at Jurassic Park, it's on a B. I think the Matrix sequels are definitely worse than the Jurassic Park sequels. And I put Matrix and Jurassic Park... I'd actually put Jurassic Park above Matrix as a first film, I think. Honestly. F for prequels or sequels? D for prequels or sequels? Let's talk about both at once. Which do you guys think is better, which is worse, huh? Personally... I mean, there isn't like a giant standout for the prequels that pulls them up, right? I like Revenge of the Sith. As a film on its own, I like Revenge of the Sith, definitely. Nothing wrong with it. Attack of the Clones, bad. Phantom Menace, worse. Probably I would put prequels on a sequel C. Prequels D, sequels C. F for 1 to 3? I don't think so. I think Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are both dangerously approaching like E territory, but I don't think any of them are really that bad. I grew up watching the prequels, so I have to sit this one out. I'm blinded by nostalgia. Fair enough. I mean, I did as well. And I definitely liked... I remember enjoying Attack of the Clones as a kid when it came out at age 6, 7. I definitely enjoyed it. And I didn't have anything against Phantom Menace. I don't remember loving it as much. And then I loved Revenge of the Sith as a kid. And I still really like Revenge of the Sith. I still think it's really good. It's not as good as like any of the original trilogy, but it is still good. Nowadays, watching them back, I think Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are pretty darn garbage. I'll put it on D. I'll put it on D. Soundtracks can't save a film. That's true. S, the memes. No. God, no. I think... Oh. You know, that's the one thing you have to keep in mind, right? If you don't put an A or S, you shall experience the full power of the dark side. Oh, well. The prequels have great choreography and soundtracks. Yes. Keep going with the positives. I don't know how much further you'll get. But you do have to say that at least George Lucas, in making the prequels, had a plan, or he had a place he had to get to, so he knew that he was going there. That was the advantage of the prequels. He couldn't go totally off on one. The sequels did not, obviously, have any kind of roadmap or plan for where they were going. Rise of Skywalker gets worse every time you watch it. Last Jedi gets worse every time you watch it. For me personally, I do think Force Awakens is genuinely great. I know people complain about it copying A New Hope, but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. A tier film. The others not so much. Right there. Wash my hands of this shenanigans. I think the original trilogy are an S tier trilogy. The prequels are D. The sequels are C. It's a worse trilogy in terms of how it was laid out and how it's storied and how cohesive it is, the sequels, than the prequels. But it is better in a lot of other aspects, for sure. The cast for the sequels, though. The cast is great for the sequels. But I mean, the prequels introduced us to Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor style, which was so iconic that they've got his own show on Disney+, you know? To be fair, you don't have to be that iconic to get your own show on Disney+. Yeah, that's true. You can be pretty much any Marvel character. Most Star Wars characters, either, yeah. Jar Jar Sith Lord theory. Yeah, that's true. That's a thing. That's the thing. God. What about the Mighty Ducks? Let's move on from Star Wars. I think I'm pretty happy with where I have those trilogies in the end. Mighty Ducks. Not great. Not great. Even at their worst, they're still fairly harmless, but not great. Not great. Yeah. Maybe another D. Maybe another D. Quack, 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 quack. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Flying V. Yeah, that's all first film, good stuff. And then they just kept going. Why? Why in the name of bejesus would you need to keep going? Why do they need to do a new series? They've got their own Disney Plus show as well. Fucking everything has its own Disney Plus show. Not good sequels. Bad sequels. No, not an S tier trilogy. Not an S tier not an S tier film. The first one even. Very much not. Very aggressively average to watch back. Really, the first film. Maybe BC edge of I will do what I must dislikes video. Mighty Ducks on S. Becca must be smoking quack. Oh. Here's our last one, right? I think this is the last foreign language one we've got. Yes? I'm gonna guess yes. So these Infernal Affairs trilogy, they get a bit weird. You know, it's like a cop type thing, which was very well revered the first time around. And then by the third one, there was like time travel, and the film still wasn't hated by critics and stuff, which is crazy, right? But as a trilogy, it's not going higher than B. I think same as the Mexican ones. They're maybe slightly overrated, but they are still very good films. The The nostalgia is getting to me. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There's a lot of nostalgia for Mighty Ducks, but fun. Yeah, at least whichever ones I saw. Yeah, no, I think they're fun. I think the sequels are harmless, but they're not. There's nothing good about them, and there's not like a standout film to lift them really above that, you know. Yeah. Cars. Look, in Pixar terms, Cars are some of the worst ones. All three of them are some of the worst films. But that's still definitely above the level of DreamWorks' worst films, right? It's still above, like, Madagascar. Oh, I actually did it. There's a dislike on the video. Oh, shit. God damn it, Ross. I mean, what, you want me to put the prequels on S to stop you disliking the video? Nah. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? That is not one of the great war scenes of cinema, let me guarantee that. Dear Lord. We've got a lot of animated ones here now. I mean, like, no on B? I'm not putting the prequels on B, come on. I don't... Revenge of the Sith is a high B film. The other two are so drastically low that they gotta drag it down to minimum C, but realistically D, because I can't put the sequels higher than C, and I'm not putting them on the same tier. So yeah, that's as high as the prequels are likely to go. How to Train Your Dragon is a fucking great trilogy. Like, I can't believe that over the course of 3 films, having seen what happened to Madagascar, well, actually no, Madagascar 1 is the worst film out of that trilogy for me. Yeah. But having seen what they do when they make sequels to films, like Kung Fu Panda sequels, you know, and a lot of other cases as well. Having seen that, I was stunned that How to Train Your Dragon 2 was as good as it was. Like, I think How to Train Your Dragon is definitely... It's maybe as high as second on my all-time DreamWorks animated movies list. I think I prefer The Road to El Dorado, but How to Train Your Dragon 1 is phenomenal. It's maybe top 10 animated movies for me, you know? How to Train Your Dragon 2 is still probably like top 5 or 6 DreamWorks movies for me, and How to Train Your Dragon 3 is still like really high quality. It's gotta be an A-tier trilogy. It's not an S. I think it's very difficult with those two on S to put anything else on their level. You know, I was close with Captain America, but no. No on B, force chokes aggressively. Alright. I agree, Revenge of the Sith is really the only passable film, yeah. Phantom Menace is unfathomably boring and Attack of the Clones is a rom-com disguised as a space fantasy flick. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I had to report this. You didn't really, Ross, right? If you reported the video, that's going too far. Disliking it's one thing. Yeah, no, How to Train Your Dragon's definitely on that level. Despicable Me... I really like Despicable Me. It's a very good, fun, quite unique film. Despicable Me 2 is still very enjoyable. Despicable Me 3. I can't really handle Despicable Me 3. I don't like watching it back. I do not. That's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as Kung Fu Panda 3, you know? Or Madagascar 1. As a trilogy, I'm not sure it really is a B. It's probably a C. The Jedi High Council will be in touch shortly. I mean, if YouTube gets in touch shortly and removes this video, we're gonna have it out, Ross, you know? Yeah, okay. I think it's a C. That's slightly harsh, but I think we're kind of talking like high B for the first film. High B, yeah. C for the second one. Lower than C, let's say, for the third one. Probably a D. The reason why the prequels are on D, I Hate Sand, It's coarse and rough and it gets every... Yeah, no, that's essentially it. Attack of the Clones is an E-tier film. And the Phantom Menace probably is as well. Yeah. I wouldn't put Attack of the Clones much above the Phantom Menace. Yeah. Revenge of the Sith is great, but that doesn't average it out to D. To higher than a D, anyway. That line taught me all I know about flirting. Okay, well, we now know a lot of Ross's issues, guys. Hotel Transylvania. Actually, you know what? Ugh. Yeah, I still don't think they're as bad as Madagascar. I think Hotel Transylvania 1 is far better than any of the Madagascar films. Hotel Transylvania 2, bad. I think Hotel Transylvania 1 is probably like a high C. Hotel Transylvania 2 is a clear D. Hotel Transylvania 3 is an F. It's an F tier film. It's bad. It's really bad. But that just about averages out to a D. It's close. It's close to an E. I'm sorry, but this video promoted treason against the Republic. Right. Okay, I'm getting more nervous that he's serious now. All right. An American Teal. Oh. A lot of these animated trilogies are not great as trilogies. No. You've got good films in there. First Kung Fu Panda is fine. First Hotel Transylvania is fine. Third Cars movie is actually better than it deserves to be. First Despicable Me is good, but as trilogies, these can't hold it together, guys, and American Teal is no different. Don't get me wrong. First one, there are no cats in America. Come on, it's great stuff. And Fievel, Papa, Fievel, Papa. Great stuff, you know, classic. Somewhere out there. But the songs are really all it has going for it. The first American Teal is not good. No, it's like Fiddler on the Roof, but in animated form. It was ambitious by Don Bluth, but not a good idea, really. Fievel Goes West was better, I think, overall. Don't worry, I liked the video to cancel Ross's dislike out. Thank you. Yeah, I think Fievel Goes West was better. And then, if we're just completing it as a trilogy, because I think there are 4 films again, I think the third one was The Treasure of some bullshit island, or some Manhattan Island, The Treasure of Manhattan Island, or something like that. That was bad. It's harsh, right? It's harsh to give an A out. But frankly, I think Fievel Goes West is doing well if it sneaks into C as a film on its own. The first film is at least a D, maybe lower. And the third one is probably just an F, really. So yeah, an E trilogy. We don't have many of them, but not good. This is very new. I literally just ranked these in a video yesterday. Watched them just at the weekend for the first time, the Fear Street films. All released on Netflix at once. Boom, 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 back to back to back weeks. That is genius idea. You couldn't have done that before Netflix. Would have had to be consecutive years if it was in cinemas, really. As a trilogy, it was so cohesive, put together so well because of that, because they were all just made at the same time. Such a good way to do it, really. It is hard, though. I don't really think it's an A. I think they're all 70s, which is similar to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It is similar level to that, so I'll have to put it on a B as a trilogy. But it's good. If you haven't watched them, 3 R-rated, proper horror kind of movies, well, they're more all thriller than horror, I think. Sorry if you mentioned already, do we have Dark Knight trilogy? We must, right? I definitely put it on, but I don't think I've marked it yet. Oh yeah, no, there it is. There it is. It's there. Random fact time. Go for it, Ross. A Christmas Prince. Another Netflix trilogy. Modern Netflix trilogy. This is kind of at the center of Netflix's insane Christmas film cinematic universe. If you don't know about this, I'd love to make videos this December about how fucking wild that is. But they basically... Right. So what happened was, I think in the second Princess Switch movie, which came out this past December, these two from the Christmas Prince movies appeared at like a coronation or something, right? It's like Tangled's main protagonists turning up in Frozen. It's like that. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. It shouldn't happen. But it did. Here's the problem. In the first Princess Switch movie, they turned on Netflix and you could see that A Christmas Prince was on Netflix. So what the fuck? And similarly, like in The Night Before Christmas, which also stars Vanessa Hudgens, I think you could see like the Princess Switch, which Vanessa Hudgens stars in, on Netflix when they turned it on. Like it's fucking mad. They keep turning on Netflix and Netflix Christmas movies, and it's ruining any chance they have of a proper cinematic universe. Anyway, the Christmas Prince movies are fucking garbage. All of them. Like the first one was like, oh, she's this reporter, she meets this rich prince, she falls in love with him. Great. That's fine. Second one, they were like getting engaged and having a wedding and stuff, and it was not good. And then the third one, they were having a baby and there was a curse, an ancient family curse that was going to start a war. F-tier film, garbage film, bad film. As of the 2011 census, there are more Jedi Knights in the UK than members of the Conservative Party. Yeah, but that's only because everyone jokingly put down that they were a Jedi, right? And therefore everyone for the 2021 census was trying to say, no, don't put that down again, because like they'll get like funding as a church because they think they have this many members. It's a mess. Bridget Jones. I was talking about this yesterday. Or was that today? Did my Jolt 1 minute review come out today? Jolt was this new film that came out on Amazon Prime, and it's got Kate Beckinsale. And it's a revenge thriller, but she's basically playing Bridget Jones as the lead in a revenge thriller, and it's terrible. The Bridget Jones films are fine. Yeah, no. I don't rank Bridget Jones's Diary as highly as some people. I prefer like Notting Hill and Four Weddings and a Funeral in terms of Hugh Grant starring British rom-coms. It's very specific. But it is very good. It is still an A-tier film. B, probably still a B for the second one. Third one is really just a C. Probably averages out to a B, right? I think it probably averages out to a B. Would you just insult my religion? No, I tried to dissuade people from pretending they were members of your religion. That should be a good thing, right? Also, I noticed that Pirates of the Caribbean is on B. I must ask why. I thought the original trilogy was fantastic. I still watch them. That is down to... Well, no, I see your point. It could be an A, but I think you're probably talking... The first one is near S. It's like border between S and A. I think the second one is a pretty clear B. I don't really think it's an A. And then the third one is like a low C heading into a D, because there is a lot of crap in it. I like the third one. I like a lot of the stuff about it. I think the big final battle at the end's so cool. But there is a lot of garbage. It's really long and a lot of pirate politics and shit. So I think a high B, more than a low A, for sure. It's yeah. Beverly Hills Cop is not a good trilogy. God, how many times can a Chicago cop, without moving to Beverly Hills, go on a holiday to Beverly Hills to avenge someone that's died or been shot or whatever it is, you know? The third one is particularly garbage. They basically went to Disneyland, and there were like evil people that owned Disneyland, but they didn't call it Disneyland, but it was Disneyland. it was Disneyland, California. The second one's not great. The first one is very funny. First one, but still, it's only like a B as a film. And then you're getting down to about an E for that last one. As a trilogy, it's probably a D. It's a bit harsh, but it probably is a D. Yeah, it's mean. I feel mean about that, but yeah. Bill and Ted recently completed a trilogy as of last year. Ooh. Again, I don't have any problems with any of them. There isn't one that really screams A to me. I think high B's for both of the first two films. Well, yeah. I think Bogus Adventure is my favorite. Third one was still good. It's a slightly kind B, but it would be a mean C, I think. Yeah. I mean, I could don't know another 50. No. You want it? You got it. The first 50 gets you that for sure. For sure. Sorted. You don't have to donate another 50 for that. The Riddick ones, these are it's kind of a loose trilogy, but it is there are 3 films that star Vin Diesel as Riddick. Pitch Black, very enjoyable. Quite a horror-y sense to it, whereas The Chronicles of Riddick was then just more action-y sci-fi, and so was Riddick, really. Yeah, it goes Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick, Riddick. That's the Riddick trilogy. Bit weird. Not like Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick aren't great, but neither of them's like bad, and Pitch Black's pretty good. So it probably evens out to about a C. I'd say they're tipping the line between C and D, both of them, and Pitch Black is a clear B. So I'd say C. It averages out to, you know. This is not the only Disney one I could have put on. I think it is the only one I put on. See, Disney do a lot of animated direct-to-video sequels. They did The Lion King 2, which is pretty good. They did Mulan 2, which was god-awful. Pocahontas 2, incredibly offensive, really terrible. Jungle Book 2, okay. Bambi 2, bad, but Bambi 1 is bad too. They've done a lot of them. Tons. So many. If you look up the full list of Disney Toon Studios films, that's who makes them all. It's quite a list. They did Cinderella 2, and then they did Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time. Cinderella 2 is about her helping one of the ugly stepsisters find love, and it's great. She ends up being nice. It's really quite a lovely, simplistic, kind of quietly reasonable film, you know? My problem is that the first Cinderella to look back on isn't, like, really incredible as an animated film. It's got a lot of nostalgia, but if I'm ranking Disney films, which I did do in another tier list stream, I'm not putting it higher than, like, a low B at best. Probably not even. It's probably a C. So it is hard as a trilogy for it to get anywhere, and A Twist in Time is not good, so it is a D. It is a D. Pitch Black is a very cool film. Chronicles is fun. I didn't particularly enjoy Riddick. I agree with C. Pitch Black is still a hugely enjoyable film to look back at it. I agree. It's very, very cool. Chronicles was fine. I think it ages more than Pitch Black does, despite Pitch Black coming out first. You know what I mean? And yeah, the third one is not great. Like Cloverfield. And here is the problem. I don't really like Cloverfield. The first one. I don't like found footage. I don't like handheld cam. I don't like any of those as tropes in movies. I don't like the Blair Witch Project. I just don't. I can't get behind it as an idea. It annoys me so much every time they do that sort of thing. So Cloverfield annoys me. I thought it was an interesting idea, since it's normally low-budget horror movies that use the handheld camera thing. But I still didn't like it. 10 Cloverfield Lane is the second in that technical trilogy. It's a bit of a loose trilogy, really. 10 Cloverfield Lane is the second one. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a great, really great movie. That's like an A tier on its own. Cloverfield is closer to like a D tier on its own. And the Cloverfield Paradox was bad. So we're probably talking about a D again as a trilogy. I don't think 10 Cloverfield Lane could save the other two. They're both max D. I agree. Pitch Black is unique. Chronicles is just a bit run-of-the-mill action. Yeah, really is. Pitch Black is very unique. It's great. Descendants is another D. Yeah. Who are we kidding? It's not good, really. They're fun. I think if you were the age that I was for... You know what I forgot? I forgot to put on High School Musical. I did. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. I looked up so many lists for film trilogies. High School Musical didn't come up. Descendants did. Go figure. I was about to say, if you were the age that I was for High School Musical when you saw Descendants for the first time, you'd probably really enjoy it. When I was watching Descendants for the first time, I was a bit older and therefore didn't really enjoy them as much. I thought they were okay, but yeah, didn't think much of them. Next is a very technical score based on something very unique that I'm not really doing this for a lot of them. I didn't punish the Star Wars sequels for being so all over the place in terms of tone as a trilogy, but Divergent needs to go on F. Because it wasn't meant to be a trilogy. It's a trilogy of books. But they were meant to make a fourth film, and then the third one did so badly and was so bad that they cancelled it. And I had nothing against the first Divergent film. I thought it's another dystopian young adult, we gotta rise up against these people thing. Jesus Christ, how many of these can we fit into film format in this decade? But I didn't have anything against the first Divergent film. I thought the premise seemed dumb, but it worked. It was okay. The second one was bad, and then the third one was god awful. And then they cancelled the fourth one, so we never even got a conclusion to the story. And that just made me really want to... I hate when things aren't finished. I like finishing things. So that vastly annoyed me. And no, it would probably be more like a E heading towards a D if I just base it on score, but that's one case where it is an abomination that they just didn't even finish it, you know? That hurts so much. The Expendables... Prof, finish it? What do you mean? Yeah, I think Expendables has got to be a C, right? Look, the first Expendables film, it's not good, really. It was okay. It's probably a high D. The second one is like a high B. It's not a phenomenal film, but it is so much fun. The wee Chuck Norris bits, after 7 agonizing days, the Cobra died, and things like that are really great about the second one. It's a really enjoyable film. The third one is back down to being like a low C tier. Still fights with the first one I'm not sure which is the worst. That you like finishing things. Oh, yeah, I do like my finishing streams. That's true. But yeah, I think Expendables overall is about a C. It's not a high C. It's nothing glamorous as a trilogy. It's pretty stupid. But it's all right. It's all right. This I forgot about when we were talking about what could be an S tier. I think it's gotta be, right? I think it's gotta be. If anything outside of those two counts as an S tier, it's probably this, right? Dark Knight is an S or a high A. It is that good. Like, The Dark Knight is that good. I really still enjoy Batman Begins. And I enjoy Dark Knight Rises in spite of how stupid a lot of the aspects of it are. I still rate them all really highly, I do. As a trilogy, it feels strange to me to put them above Captain America, but they stand alone as a trilogy better. Captain America's story, Chris Evans as Captain America, that character's story is not told solely in those three films. You need to watch at least Endgame, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put that higher, because it is greatness as a standalone trilogy. This just kind of popped up when I was looking through like the Christmas Prince and some of these other trashy ones. It's a trilogy of films called Finding Father Christmas, Engaging Father Christmas, and Marrying Father Christmas. And it's like the Christmas Prince films, except he's not even a prince or anything. It's just this guy she meets. He's not Santa. Nothing like that. Just this guy. And she meets the guy in the first one, then gets engaged to him in the second one, then marries him in the third one. I don't know why it's here, really. I guess just to fill out the F tiers. They're really bad. They're like Hallmark level. In fact, I think they are made by Hallmark. So, yeah. From Dusk Till Dawn. You know what? I really enjoyed some of the aspects of the From Dusk Till Dawn TV show that Netflix was doing. I don't know if I finished watching it, but I enjoyed a lot about that. The films? Yeah, you might not even really remember the second and third films. I don't think they were well known. Look, the first one is reasonably good. The second and third ones aren't really. They really peter out and just drag those second and third ones. So it's probably D. I don't think it's quite bad enough for an E as a trilogy, but it's not great. I guess you can't go E unless I hate all of the films. Yeah. I do enjoy the first From Dusk Till Dawn film well enough. It's not great rewatchability, but it's fine. The Fallen trilogy. The Gerard Butler, Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen. You know, for some reason, a lot of people seem to prefer White House Down to Olympus Has Fallen. Olympus Has Fallen came out first. It's more brutal. It's got better, like, action. I do prefer Gerard Butler to Channing Tatum as a lead, for sure. I'm kind of tit for tat on Jamie Foxx or Aaron Eckhart as presidents, which is better. But story in general, I think I prefer the Fallen one. And then London Has Fallen was still watchable. They're you know what? They're like the Taken films. Where's the Taken? We put it on C. I think the Fallen trilogy retains more quality than the Taken films in the sequels. Obviously, Taken as a film is better than Olympus Has Fallen. But I'd be tempted to put this as a trilogy on B. Nah. Nah, I think that would be kind, actually. I liked Olympus Has Fallen, don't remember the others well if I saw them both. You might not have. Angel Has Fallen came out quite quietly, as I recall. I definitely saw London Has Fallen in the cinema. I don't know if I saw Angel Has Fallen in the cinema even. I did see it later, though. And it is... it's just the same as Taken 3. He just gets framed in that one for trying to assassinate the president and has to go on the run. Yeah. So it is the same. It is pretty much the same as the Taken trilogy. No, we're going to give them both C's. It is harsh on both of them to get C's, probably, but yeah. Harold and Kumar. Yeah. Yeah. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, I don't think these take much explaining. There's good first films in there and not good sequels in there that as trilogies neither is good. Neither is probably bad enough to get E, but Harold and Kumar taught me about White Castle. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. What came after? Not so fair enough, really. What can you say about Human Centipede as a trilogy, you know? What can you say about Human Centipede as a film? I feel violated just thinking about watching it again. You know, that is... Whew, yeah, no, not good. Johnny English, yeah. I think when I look at Johnny English, I think, is that as a trilogy as good as the first 3 Mission Impossibles? And probably not. I'd rather just pretend that Human Centipede didn't exist. Yeah, I think most of us would prefer that. It's not good. It's not good times. I think Johnny English, honestly, it's probably another D. I think both sequels are around a D. The first one, honestly, watching it back, doesn't really make it out of a C. It's funny, but it's not, like, great. Is that something that we could do? I wish. We should start a petition to erase it from everyone's minds. It's a bad time. Maze Runner. Maze Runner. I'm noticing that nobody's really arguing with these Ds, this flurry of Ds. Yeah, we've just kind of reached a bad section near the end here. A lot of these just aren't great. Like, all of these, I'd say, reasonable enough first films that shouldn't have had sequels. For any of them. And when they did, it just got bad. Maze Runner, it's like Divergent, except in the end they actually finished it. You know, it's not as good as The Hunger Games. Nothing is as bad as Twilight. Not even the Divergent films are as bad as Twilight for me. I don't know. I do like Dylan O'Brien. I do like Scolodario. I do like Thomas Brody Sangster. I did like the cast. I argue with Panda, but not everything else. All right. C or D for Maze Runner. I love Dylan O'Brien, but Maze Runner just isn't great. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing inspiring about it, but I don't feel like it got bad. Really? I don't feel like it ever got unacceptable. Which makes it hard to give it a D. It's probably a C. That's a kind C. I feel like there's a wide range in the C. We've got ones where there's a great film and then 2 bad sequels. We've got ones where there's kind of a bit of a about how you feel about the whole thing overall. There's just your average dip in quality from a B to a C to a D. Yeah. It's a wide variation in the C category, I feel, but I think that's about right. I don't feel like a Maze Runner is a D, really. Night at the Museum. That's comfortable. To watch back now, today, the first Night at the Museum is maybe high D. Second one is an E. Third one is definitely an F. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's definitely an F. Pitch Perfect. I'm going to overrate this, just so you're aware. I really freaking love Pitch Perfect. The first one. I put Pitch Perfect as a film S tier. That's a real, I wouldn't say guilty pleasure, but it is, because I don't think people think it's a bad film in general, you know. But I way overrate it above what it really deserves. I just love it so much, and I enjoy it more and more every time I see it. I love all the music. I love Anna Kendrick a lot. I love the whole cast. The whole cast is phenomenal in it. They're so great, and there's so many great moments and great characters, and it's just really funny as well. Love Pitch Perfect? Hell yeah. Third Museum is F, really? No, it is for sure. But the first one kind of lifts it up to about an E overall. So yeah, first Pitch Perfect is an S. I still really enjoy the second one a lot. Still an A. Third one, there's a significant drop-off. It kind of half becomes an action comedy, which is ridiculous for those films. They won the World Championships in 2. So anything they did for 3 was going to feel small, and it did. Oh, we're competing against real bands now? I haven't seen Pitch Perfect? Really, Mike? Oh, you'd love it, man. Pitch Perfect is phenomenal. So good. It is so funny. And music is so good in it, and all the characters are so good. I love Pitch Perfect. Second one, great sequel. Definitely S-A for me. Third one, I'm just arguing about whether it's a C or a D, because they just get rid of the guys, you know? The girls get with the guys. They're with the guys. They're happy at the end of the second one. Nope. The guys are all just gone. In the third one, get rid of them all. All men have to leave. I didn't like that, because I liked the male characters, and I liked the relationships that the girls had with them. So that annoyed me. I didn't feel like the songs were on as high a level as the first two. The general story was annoying. Rebel Wilson's story with her dad. Oh, Jesus. So it's probably a D. It's probably a D. So what do you do with an SAD? It might be a B. Yeah, I hate to say it. I'd like to put it on A, but I might have to put it on a B because that's a real drop-off. The second film isn't, like, impeccable. I don't know, it's close to an A, but worth an A. It is tricky. I don't know. I mean, I'm being harsh. Pitch Perfect 3 it doesn't deserve a D. I'm just comparing it to the other two. It's got that effect. It's probably a C. And if it's a C, then I guess Pitch Perfect, as a trilogy, it probably is an A, right? Close. It's close to B because 3 really does for me. It really let me down. I was really disappointed in that. Second's still great. Second is definitely still great, yeah. I guess you could do that. It's sad that it gets a B. Yeah, no, I think I gotta put it on A. It is close. It's close between them, but I love the first one so much. I'm willing to let it get away with that. Yeah. Oh. Oh, shit. Strong. Oh, really strong. No, my dad always raised me on John Wayne, you know? And in Western terms, it's, oh, do you prefer John Wayne or Clint Eastwood, you know? John Wayne never had a trilogy like this. The Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trilogy. Those are good films. Those are good films. Oh, shit. It's so difficult with all of the things that we've put on A to put another one on S. But I'm really close. I'm really close here. I don't know. I guess, like, the bottom of these three is the Dark Knight trilogy. So is it as good as the Dark Knight trilogy? I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is very close to the level I'd put the Dark Knight on. As individual films. I think A Fistful of Dollars... I probably would have that about the same as Batman Begins. Would I have For a Few Dollars More as high as The Dark Knight Rises then? I think it's close enough. I think it's close enough. I think as an average scorer, it's higher than any of these. Yeah. There's no weak entry. They're all on that huge level of being great westerns. There are some John Wayne films I'd prefer to at least A Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. I don't know what my favorite western is. It's so... You find that'd be interesting to do a tier list, try and like take like 100 or 200 westerns, put it on S, yeah. I think I will. Because westerns are so hard to review. Old westerns, like, it's so... There's like a lot of ones that people consider like, oh, The Searchers, Stagecoach, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and True Grit, and things like that they really consider at that like top tier. But if you ask, I don't know if they're... I don't know if they're, if you ask a group of, like, people that all love westerns what their favourite one is, I don't know if you get the same answer twice, you know? Because there are so many great ones in the genre. There's so many good John Wayne ones. It's hard to pick just a favourite John Wayne one. And then you add in all the Clint Eastwood ones, and then you add in all these other ones. Like, I really love Gunfight at the OK Corral as well, and things like that. Which have neither of them in it, so it's so hard. But I think the Dollars trilogy is worth it. I think it's worth an S tier. The Langdon trilogy, I just reviewed these when I was out of town with Tom Hanks' season. So this is fresh in the mind. Inferno was the last one. This is another one, kind of like, not as bad as the Narnia films, but they did fuck around with this. 310 to Yuma is a solid western. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was slightly overhyped. I'd still definitely put it on like a B. It's not really close to my top ones, but it's pretty good. I think the westerns, like, it's very hard to put anything past like 1970 on the same level as a lot of the really classic ones, you know? There Will Be Blood is technically a western. That's fair. It definitely could count. There are a lot of like modern ones you kind of forget that do count. Unforgiven, things like that are really good, but I think my top westerns are all from before 1970, just personally. Anyway, yeah. This is a weird one, because like the Narnia books, they fucked around with these. The first Robert Langdon book that was written by Dan Brown is Angels and Demons. Then the Da Vinci Code. Then the Lost Symbol. Then Inferno. What they did with the films was made the Da Vinci Code, the second book. Then they made Angels and Demons, the first book. Then they skipped Lost Symbol and did Inferno, the fourth book. It's a bit wild. Like, it's hard because I'm going to put it on C, but that is slightly harsh because I would put both the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons on B as films. But Inferno is probably a D, so drags it down just into a C. Just. It's close. Close to a B. They are all very watchable, but they are long. Da Vinci Code especially, I think, was very long. So, it seems about fair. The Santa Claus trilogy. Ooh, boy. Ooh. Oh boy, oh boy. I think the Santa Claus 1 is better than Night at the Museum 1. But 2 and 3 are both very bad. Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Right? The one with Jack Frost. One with Martin Short as Jack Frost. That is bad. Oh boy, that's bad. Transporter. When you actually watch back the Transporter films more recently, I don't know if any of them are... Well, the first one, maybe a B, just. The second one is definitely a low D. Third one probably averages out. It's probably a C. It's probably another C. I need to Western-themed tier list now. That's a... See, that's... It's one that I would love to try and do. It'd be so hard. I'd love to try and do it, but it is another one that, like, I'd have to make my own one, and then I'd feel annoyed at myself for missing ones out because there are so many. Like, in the whole Western genre, you could put, like, 300, 400 films on that tier list and still not catch every one that people know and love, you know? Because people just love so many different ones. Like here, I kind of could have put in the first 3 Transformers. I forgot to put in the High School Musical trilogy, which, by the way, solid, like, B-tier trilogy. Love the High School Musical films. Way more than they deserve. Yeah, so there's always going to be things you miss with doing one of these if you're making it yourself, because it's such an open-ended concept. Movie trilogies, there are thousands. Like, I could have put hundreds on this instead of just 85. Westerns I'd love to do, though. Yeah, I'll put that on the list at some point. The To All the Boys films. Do a community poll and get everyone to nominate? Oh gosh, yeah, good. Everyone to nominate films. That'd be rough. That'd be difficult. Take some time to work through. But possible for sure. Yeah, the To All the Boys films, another Netflix trilogy that they managed to finish. Similar level to the Kissing Booths. I prefer the first Kissing Booth to any of these, but these retained quality. These... I think the second one's maybe my personal favourite, but they're all in like the 60s. So it's probably just a C. I don't think it's a B trilogy. I don't like Noah Centineo, so it's never going to be a B. Quick and the Dead, 310, Hang 'em High, Tombstone. Let me tell you. Okay, you got some ideas about this. I don't know Quick and the Dead really. I know 310. I know Hang 'em High. I know Tombstone. Yeah, but that's what I mean. You know, I definitely think if you just put down the entire filmographies of John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and then listen to what everyone's ideas are for other things that don't star them, that's the best way to basically get that list together. I was talking about M. Night Shyamalan recently with the Old 1 Minute review. That was shit. If you didn't see my 1 minute review, don't go see Old in cinemas. It's really worse than any film that makes it to the cinemas has any right to be. These 3... Look, M. Night Shyamalan is really, really so far up his own asshole that he's almost becoming like this paradoxical piece of like black hole nature, you know? Like he's a mess. He's a mess. He set out to make... I mean, at least when he made Glass, which is the third one in this trilogy, he was doing it because he thought, I can make a highbrow superhero film that's better than any of these other superhero films. And it was balls. Glass was balls. It's not like that bad, but it's not good. It's like a D. Unbreakable? I think people overrate Unbreakable. I still only think that's a C tier film. Split? Split's the middle one. Split's by far the best, if you ask me. Split is... I think Split and The Sixth Sense are his best movies, if you ask me. I'd put that near an A tier. As a trilogy, it's lucky. It should be it should be happy to get a C. It's close to a D, because it just annoys me how far up his own hole he was. Imagine trying to rate newer movies like Magnificent Seven next to the classics. Oh, well, that's easy. You just put, like, the Magnificent Seven, the 1961, on S, and then you put the new one somewhere below that, you know? Oh, dear. Yeah, for sure. But that's a good case. That's a good example of one of the very best Westerns there is. No Clint Eastwood, no John Wayne, you know? The Magnificent Seven. This is another interesting example. I totally forgot this was a trilogy until I was looking ones up for this list. So Sergio Leone, after making the Dollars trilogy, wanted to do something else. And he made the very, very long, as I recall, Once Upon a Time in the West. Then he made a film that's got a lot of names. Some people call it, I can't remember what, A Fistful of Dynamite, I think, is one of the common names for it. There's another name for it that's quite common, but then the technical reason it's in this, and this counts as a trilogy, is it's called Once Upon a Time Revolution. And then he made Once Upon a Time in America. So those three are a very loose trilogy, but they do count, apparently. People do count them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have thought of them as being as such, but if people count them... I mean, they're very long. I don't think A Fistful of Dynamite's too long, but the other two are very long. Once Upon a Time in America is like a 4-hour movie. And that annoyed me. Oh, not there. I'm tempted to leave them on B overall, but realistically they are good enough to get an A overall. But they're very long. They do annoy me, in a way. But they're very good, yeah. bit of a weird relationship with those. A Fistful of Dynamite's just plain good. Very good. Once Upon a Time in the West, it's good, very good. Once Upon a Time in America is very good as well. It's hard to not give it that. And then finally, and this is a weird one as well, and I feel like this really slips under the radar of mainstream, because I didn't know about them until a couple of years ago. There are these films called Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. And it's about these two people that meet for one night and like fall in love and then part the next day, and then meet again 9 years later, and then meet again 9 years later. Or do they stay together after the second one? I can't quite remember. It's been a while. But yeah, so Ethan Hawke is the guy. I cannot remember who plays the girl. But they actually filmed them like 1995, 2003. That's not right. 1995, 2004, 2013. So they actually filmed them all 9 years apart, which it was very well done. And they are very good films. Might only be a B, though, overall, as a trilogy. No, I'll probably give it the A. That's a lot of A's today. But a pretty minimal number of S's, you know? But yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think those two are... You almost need like an A+ tier between A and S. Because I think Star Wars, the original trilogy, and Lord of the Rings... in terms of iconicness, in terms of how actually good each film is, are a level above both of these. But I think those two are definitely a level above like all of these. Yeah, I think that's about fair. I think that's about right. But yeah, no. That was a good one, guys. I really enjoyed that one. It's one of those ones I like having like completionist. I like having these lists that are like set, like those are the things that belong in this list, but it is hard with something more open-ended like this to get absolutely everything in there, so sorry if I left something out. I already thought of a couple I left out, and I'm sure I'll think of more, but I really did. I went through some lists trying to be comprehensive with this one. Found a lot of weird shit that I didn't include because I'd never even vaguely heard of it. But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. That was a long one, actually. I was longer than I expected this to take. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Mike, for the donation, and everyone else that donated there. And yeah, it looks like I'm going to be playing the B-movie game on Friday to completion. Whole thing. One sitting. Oh, God. So I'm incredibly not excited for that. But it'll happen. And I'll be back on stream Saturday and Sunday as well for probably more Age of Mythology and Pokemon. Really enjoying Pokemon and Age of Mythology. Fuck, those are great games. I'm having a great time. And I've also got B-Movie game. So yeah, no, leave more suggestions, please, down below for other tier lists. The Westerns one is definitely a good idea. That's another long one for sure. But it is a good idea. And lots of other genres like that and things you definitely could do with films if we're doing more open-ended ones that you just fit a lot of in. A lot of the iconic ones and some others. If not every single one ever. Because that is hard. With Westerns, that's impossible. But thank you guys for watching anyway. I need to rest my voice. Been talking a lot the last 2 hours. And I will see you again on Friday.